Safeguarding in martial arts is something that inherently the sector as a whole has taken time to catch up with. As sector leaders on safeguarding, our Club Colours programme has for many years already been linked to the Safeguarding Code of Martial Arts standard and will award your club that standard automatically. But when it comes to advice, guidance and getting things right before something goes wrong, you might not know that our team provide expert guidance and advice that can help you in advance of an issue. The first thing to look at as a club as a whole is who you're working with. If you're working with children, which is anyone under the age of 18, whether it's a children's only class or a mixed setting, you need to look at safeguarding. The same applies for adults at risk, but there's a slightly different definition and application in that sector. If you're working with children, you need to start off with your safeguarding policies. And I know, as a martial artist myself, sometimes the talk of policy management can send you half to sleep. Regulation Ready can help there. The policy register will automatically help you scaffold what needs to be in place and verify it once it's uploaded. Safeguarding policies matter more than you think. It's not a tick box exercise, and our policy creator can take the legwork out of producing that base template. Not only in the event of an actual incident does it help you really clearly think about what needs to happen next. In the event of you being pursued for damages for example, expelling a student from your club, having a robust policy that you followed to the letter is your defence to show that it was proportionate, fair and just. Without doing that, you leave yourself liable for accusations of unfair treatment or discrimination. In addition to the policy management, you need to make sure basic checks are in place. That's an enhanced DBS check in England and Wales or a PVG scheme check if you're up in Scotland. These checks in themselves don't prove that somebody is safe to work with children. They're just a snapshot at someone's criminal record. Although in theory a DBS check is out of date from the day of issuance, we'll accept it for up to 3 years from date of issue. Better practice would be that after your DBS is renewed, you go straight onto the update service, which keeps your DBS up to date. And we will refresh that with you at least once a year, but more often if needs be, without you having to go through the entire DBS process again. In Scotland and PVG or Northern Ireland, the schemes are slightly different, but the premise is the same. It's about ensuring that someone's criminal history is suitable for the role they're working in. And as part of safer recruitment, something you'll learn about from our CPD or Regulation Ready, it's crucial that you as a club, whether that is you as an owner of the club or a management team, know who's working with you and have appropriate checks and balances in place to make sure somebody that could cause harm or is not suitable to be working with children is caught before they get to the mats. It's also important to mention that you need to make this right for instructors, assistants and volunteers. It's not just your instructor workforce. Even your reception team or those working in the premises may have unsupervised access to children and need to be considered as part of this broader safeguarding picture. So adequate safeguarding training is essential to make sure your team understand what a safeguarding risk looks like, how to respond and who to report to. And then somebody in that club, usually the lead instructor, but larger clubs may have a designated person, needs to assume the role of a DSL. Now that term might be DSO or welfare officer. There's different terminology across different governing bodies. At BMBA we use DSL, designated safeguarding lead. That is the person ultimately responsible for managing concerns raised and escalating them to the appropriate authorities. This is a legal requirement as well as an ethical one, and you need to make sure you get that right. So having one person appointed as a DSL with designated safeguarding lead training to understand the enhanced reporting requirements and duty of care is absolutely crucial. Safeguarding isn't just about keeping children safe in the respective criminal records and safeguarding and raising concerns. It can extend beyond that to a broader duty of care around welfare, SEND provision or concussion management. So it's important you take a holistic approach to safeguarding at club level. Even if you're working with adults who are not deemed to be at risk, which in itself is a topical question, you still have a duty of care around mental health for those training with you or concussion management protocols. When we talk about safeguarding, we're not just talking about the typical case of a child coming to harm in your dojo. It could be raising concerns around patterns of neglect or poor care outside of your setting. Sometimes your club, especially in more socioeconomic challenged areas, might be the only consistent point of contact with a child, and your club is often the missing link between school and home. It's not about just keeping children safe on the mats, it's about protecting children in your care, keeping adults safe, and ensuring you're doing everything you can to keep those who come to you for martial arts training in the best possible health both on the mats and outside of the dojo too.